we are hosting the fourth guest lecture in a series of guest lectures in which over the past month we have moved through various topics looking at the history of organic farming, the relevance of organic farming for the future, and its role in global food security. And lastly, we looked into soil fertility and how organic farming practices can improve productivity on a farm. Our focus tonight is on the pest and disease management in organic farming, a very pertinent topic in organic farming, and one of that regularly comes up during our trainings and engagements with farmers and other stakeholders. For this, we warmly welcome our three speakers for tonight: two organic farmers from Namibia and a research fellow from Kenya. Thank you, Dirk, Kristina, and visually joining us, Dr. Stewart from Kenya. Firstly, I would like to welcome Dirk Wölbling to get us started tonight on this interesting topic of pest management. Just before Dirk comes on the panel, I would just like to read a little bit about him, and maybe he can say a little bit about himself as well. But Dirk is a trained agriculturalist and was involved in organic herb and vegetable production in Germany for 5 years before returning to Namibia and starting Humulus Horticultural in 2006. Dirk now farms organically in Namibia and produces a variety of vegetables for the green market and other retail shops in Windhoek, sold under Humulus. Dirk also served as a board member for Namibian Organic Associations.
Okay, my knowledge is based quite a lot on a YouTuber, John Kempf. I don't know who's following him as well. And he developed this plant health pyramid. You can Google it, you will find it, and you will get the basics very quickly. I can't stay too long on this, but this is basically plant health is coming in different stages. And if you are at the top of the pyramid, you actually can say, okay, my plant is so healthy that that there won't be any insects in the station. There will no pests, no diseases. And the basis of this is this bottom part. It's a complete photosynthesis part. It's actually saying that if I can push up my energy level of my plant, then I have a foundation for plant health. So our crops are somewhere between, I think in Namibia you get them sometimes between 10 and maybe 20-30% at its best of its capacity that a plant can do that they are photosynthesis at. So there is a lot of room up. A plant is capable of doing so much more than we know. We don't know the capacity. And so now, how can we push it up? I think that will go a bit there. He's taking it a lot from a mineral nutrition point, and it's really worth to look at, but I think it will be too much now to think at. I want to go later on how I am measuring, and that will take a bit of time, so I won't go into detail there. But if a plant, now let's say you got a plant that is working at 20% of what it is genetically able to do. and you can lift it up to 30%. Now you got 50% more energy that the plant is collecting through photosynthesis. And this 50%, where does it go? Does it go into yield? Yes, it will, to a certain extent. Now you will have higher yields, but not 50% more. It will go into, a lot of it will go through the root system back into its rhizosphere, its biological, basically its society of all the microorganisms. So they are feeding them and get in return from the microbiome, they are getting nutrients, they are getting water, whatever they need. And then another part of it is going into the plant itself to boost its immune system. That's where we come into level 3, increased lipid synthesis. This is lipids, it's fats. What will do we as humans? If we eat good and later on we get fat, so we have something for the times when there is not a lot. And that's where the plants are. You can think of it like in human, out of the human health perspective as well. Let me go on a little bit on the second one, because that's where insects come in a lot. The basics of the protein cycle is actually plant takes up nitrogen in whatever form. It in a situation where you feed the plant with nitrate, it will take up nitrate, and then it has to convert it through first to ammonium, and then into amino acids, and into peptides, and then into complete proteins. Insects are not capable of breaking down complete proteins. They are not made for this. Their system is not. They don't have the enzymes to break them off. So they will go for the plants where you have the nitrates, the ammonium, or the simple amino acids that just don't get further to get established into proper proteins. And that's where aphids, everybody know aphids. And that's one of the things where it's quite easy to understand. Aphids actually can only work with nitrate. They cannot work even with amino acids, they will not come. So you're building nitrates in your plant, and for whatever reason, it can happen organic as well. It's not that you have to feed it with nitrate to get it. If you have organic fertilization and you have aphids, and you know that your system is not working in that amino acids are not transformed into proteins quick enough. Okay, but that's how you have to understand this quote of William Albrecht as well. If you have this rapid transversion into complete proteins, then the insects they won't come to the plants because it's not food for them. So that's now what are we doing to make plants unhealthy? And I list a few things, but this is our modern agriculture. It's doing everything that is good actually to tell the insects, please come and eat me. I am sick. I don't belong here. Everything that causes an imbalance of the microbiome, if you spray a fungicide, what will happen? It will cause a massive imbalance, and who will be the first one to come back? It's the fusarium. The fusarium, there's that's one, for instance, fusarium, Phytophthora. They are all actually sacrificed. They are always in the soil. They are there, and they don't express themselves in a healthy plant, but they will. They are living as normal sacrifice. They're breaking down sick and dead plant material. And if things are now out of balance, they will come for that plant. Oxidizing environments. That's what you have to understand as well. A bit out of oxidation. What is causing oxidation? If you are plowing your soil, you will have a huge, massive input of air in there. You will immediately oxidize all your soil. All your micronutrients will be oxidized. They are no longer available for the plants. It's actually going through this. Our practices, how we farm, actually invites pests and diseases as well. Okay, but there are other stress factors. The heat we are experiencing at the moment. Definitely your pests will come after the stress factors. The plant is stressed. A healthy plant will withstand the stress longer, but life is, unfortunately, it's not so ideal that you can say, okay, at Humulus it's always there are no pests. That's not the truth. We are fighting the pests as well. We are only having another perspective. Okay, the nutrition not in balance. That is a point. You can do something about it, and I can explain it a little bit later. Like for the heat, we can't do something. Somehow we have to build a healthy plant to fight that. We all know the statement, healthy soils are creating healthy plants. So if I have a healthy soil and I plant in it, and I will have a healthy plant. And that is true. But there is a second truth. And that second truth is healthy plants are creating healthy soils. And that's about the root exudates. You can build your soil much quicker if you're having a healthy plant, and then that plant will build the soil. So it's important that we look at that perspective as well, because sometimes we don't have healthy soils, but there is a way to get a healthy plant even in a compromised environment. And I think it's important that you think of it, a healthy soil, a healthy plant, that you get in an upward spiral, that you take care that you don't get into a downward spiral, but rather try to get in that upward spiral. Build your soil, build your plant healthier. Yeah, okay, next slide. Okay, what Brix, I think there was a German scientist, if I'm not mistaken, he found out that you can measure sugar levels in I think they started with grapes, because it's quite commonly used in the grape industry. They measure the sugar levels to see is the sugar is high enough to make a good wine. And you will have in all plant sap, you will have sugar contents. And that one won't be as high as in fruits, but it will be there and it's measurable. And if you get the logics of higher sugars, meaning better photosynthesis, meaning healthier plant, then you know that if you can raise your Brix that you are on the right path. And I use it because we don't have a better other tool. We would have a better other tool, but they are not really practicable. We can send tissue analysis to the lab. They will take a branch of a leaf or leaves, and then they will ash it, and then they will analyze what's in there. But it's not really helpful. That's if we go to the doctor, something is wrong with us, and we chop up a leg and say, see if there's enough calcium. You find all the calcium of your bones, but don't really get an answer. So, and there would be one good alternative, and that would be if we could take that plant sap and analyze it for its nutrients, and then we can see, is there nitrates in there, or is there ammonium in there, and all the micronutrients, are they in the desired range? But it's quite unpracticable because it's not accessible in Namibia. There is no lab doing it, so we have to do something that is working here, and with the Brix, I can do it on farm, and I immediately have an answer. Okay, that's it. Next slide. So, what the challenges with Brix? I brought a refractometer. This is a machine. I bought it. I think it was 2,500 rand. I bought it somewhere online in South Africa. You put a drop of the plants up here, and then you look through, and you will get a more or less clear reading. It's basically measuring the refraction of the light, and then you get a border there, and then you say, okay, that is my Brix readings. The challenges with it is quite the variability is quite high. It's you will find different Brix in the morning than in the afternoon, so you can't really compare them. And when you get a reading, then you got a number, no recommendation, nothing. So that is a bit challenging, and sometimes the readability is a bit of a problem. I find that the more chlorophyll in the leaf, then I don't get a clear line, then I get a wishy-washy line. That's a bit of guessing. Okay, but what are we doing? We are, I get a NAS student once a year, then he's there for half a year. They have to do their interns. And then I train him on that, and then I can send him. If he got it once, then I can send him, and he can do hundreds and even thousands of Brix readings. I think they get a bit tired, but they give me valuable data. Can you go on to the next one? Yeah. So then I draft a spreadsheet where they fill in all the lines, and then I always take 3 measurements where I compare a treated plant with the untreated plant. I have idea. Okay, this could raise my Brix. If I have a compost tea, for instance, I say, okay, it's worth to see, is my compost tea good, and will it raise my Brix? Then, so then I have this comparing data. I make it for 4 or 5 crops, and I get a bit of a overview, and that it's not that the data is a bit more spread and a bit more reliable. And then I calculate the average, and then I can compare that average against the control. And if you get is the next slide, is it yes, that is how I'm doing it. The first one is a time. I just let them record it for accuracy, meaning then I understand as well, are they getting it right? Here, for instance, he took 1, 2, 3 readings, and then he took 1, 2, 3 readings. He should have made it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay? And then I calculate the standard deviation, and I calculate the average. By chance now, this is This is crops that all have quite high Brix. When you are here in the range of above 10, your crop is actually inherently healthy. But I get other crops where I struggle to get them above 5. Okay, then at the back is my where I deduct the average. So this 1.8 is basically this 15.3 minus 13.5. And so I see if it's a positive value, then that Brix are higher. So when I get a sheet like this where all the figures are positive, then I know this is really what I need. I need to put down this product. Okay, the product is a MOP herbali. To explain it a bit, MOP is I used it's chelates from different micronutrients. It's MOP stands for molybdenum boron, and herbali is it's a competition product of yours, and it's a seaweed product that I found the best, still better than that one of AgriGrow, so please improve on that one. Okay, yeah, that's, and then I develop a spray program, but based on this. I would do something blind, okay, but if I on a long term don't find there is something really moving the needle, then I wouldn't do it. Okay, that's it. Are we in the time frame? Or? Okay, I wanted to close with the biblical perspective on it, and when Adam and Eve got chased out of the Garden Eden, he told Adam asked his wife, or his wife told him, eat from this apple. So he didn't consult God, he consulted a man, so his wife. That wasn't a good idea. Yeah? Now, and to the man he said, since you listened to your wife and ate from the tree whose fruit I commanded you not to eat, the ground is cursed because of you. All your life you will struggle to scratch a living from it. So this is now, is the soil cursed? The Bible says the soil is cursed because of you. So we have it in our hands. It's our choice. If we follow people's way, if we say there's a pest, let's put some poison, then that is our mindset. But if we listen more to God, then it's not necessary that the soil is cursed. And you have actually a fruitful soil that is giving you something. Okay, that's it.
And our next speaker is Kristina, who I call Katrina. I'll just quickly also just introduce your bio quickly. If you can give me a chance and then confirm if it's correct. Okay, Kristina is an organic farmer in Namibia, focusing on organic production of strawberries. How many people like strawberries in here? Wow, okay. Raspberries and asparagus and vegetables. Her products are sold under Okasewa Organics. I think that's a Sherero, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And have been certified as organic by the Namibian Organic Association for the local market. Kristina's journey into organic farming began in 2017, and her focus has been in implementing JADAM organic farming practices and innovation organic farming technology established in Korea. So, Kristina, you tell us maybe a little bit about JADAM. and then, yeah, take it away.
Hello, and firstly, I'm feeling quite honored to be here and very nervous. So maybe we can quick jump to the next slide. So I came to JADAM through came to JADAM through Korean natural farming firstly, on my search to produce natural farming inputs which would help me to increase production, lower my soil pH, increase micro biology in my soil. And after Korean natural farming, I found the son of Korean natural farming, which is Yongsuk Chow and JADAM, which was only established in 1991. And by a really clever man, Bachelor of Chemistry, Master Horticulture, PhD in Plant Pathology. And he basically based all of his teachings on his father's teachings and the Asian traditional farming. So it was an age-old farming practices where they used a lot of things which we found a bit strange, like anaerobic fermentation, and made for farming inputs. And the next one. The most amazing thing about this is that he made it available for free worldwide. He didn't patent any of his inventions, and So my father, my grandfather were both horticultural farmers in Namibia, and so I learned a lot from them. And then I am the first organic farmer. So I had to learn a lot of new things, and I didn't study horticulture, and I did something completely different. And so I when I came to my partner's farm in Namibia, I had a small little garden area where I could do whatever I wanted to do, and I got some strawberries from my brother, which I looked after, and raspberries, which I inherited from my sister-in-law. And my partner said to me, I love raspberries. So I said, okay, let's try to grow raspberries. Even though everyone tells me I can't grow raspberries in Namibia because it's too hot and too dry. And and then everything was learning online and with Google and studying everything when I got from there and practicing. And then, my raspberries and strawberries loved it and got more and more, as well as the asparagus. So now I have 1 hectare where I do organic farming, and most of it is strawberries, raspberries, and asparagus. So why JADAM? So I tried to find something which wouldn't break the bank. I discovered that my organic inputs were also doing the same with Dirk's soil. I had too much phosphorus and too much potassium in my soil. I had organic matter because I have a lovely husband who allows me to use all his leftover hay from the cattle farming and mulch all the time and never let a piece be bare. So I'm in that regard very, very lucky. The organic matter was fine, but that was really bad. Plus, my soil was too salty because of the lick in cow manure. And so I tried to find something which would change that. And I discovered first, before I discovered JADAM really works, I found other microbe products, like for example Biodine, which worked very well. I immediately saw improvement, but to continuously buy a microbial solution would have been very expensive. And what made me really think about JADAM and Korean national farming was the idea of using indigenous microbes, and that those would definitely work better than the ones who are singled out in the lab. So there's a lot of research being done on bacteria and beneficial bacteria for plant health, and all these bacteria have been then isolated and farmed for the plant health. So the concept of being able to harness your own indigenous microorganism was something which said, okay, that makes sense, because Namibia is a super harsh environment. We have super high temperatures, we have very low temperatures at night, and those fluctuating changes happen very quickly. I mean, we're all experiencing this at the moment. And if I have bacteria which are adapted to these crazy temperatures, then I'm sure they will do better in my garden than any bacteria out of the soil. So I think that's the most important thing about JADAM is the JMS, the microbial solution, which is basically everyone can do it. You just harvest leaf mold soil from old trees, and preferably undisturbed leaf mold, and you add starch and a little bit of sea salt, and you have, within 24 hours, you have a microbe cocktail which you apply to your soil. And then the other concept he uses, which is quite interesting, is JADAM liquid fertilizer. That is a bit of a... Some people find anaerobic fermentation an introduction of pathogenic bacteria, because also the smell is not as nice as you have an aerated compost or aerated compost tea. But the philosophy of him is that basically when we digest food, we also do it anaerobically. So you have a closed gut system with anaerobic bacteria which digest the food which you have inside of you to make it more available for you. You cannot do, without these microbes in your gut, you cannot digest the food. And JADAM liquid fertilizers are basically plant material with the help of leaf mold soil and water, get digested and then applied as bioavailable fertilizers to the plant. And yeah, there's a lot of research on this. You can go crazy online. There's a lot of people who are pro this and against this, and I can just tell you that it makes sense to me and that it works. And everyone should try it out. Yeah, so microbes. I think microbes are the most important soldiers for plants out there. So without the right microbes and consistent microbes and also diverse microbes, the plants will not be able to take up the nutrients they need. And having those solutions in JMS and JLF helps you to continuously give your plants more soldiers to do the work for them. Yeah. Then regarding the pesticide. So the pesticide, I think, is the most amazing thing, because he basically didn't patent any of his solutions. There's a lot of it I still haven't tried. There's a lot of things. For example, I haven't tried, I think, his biggest invention, the JADAM sulfur. And I've only was able to access a couple of herbs to do JADAM herbal solutions, and I haven't experimented yet with local herbs, which most probably will also work, to really tell you. But I can tell you that the JADAM wetting agent is a really, really powerful tool against aphids and whiteflies. And all of these pesticides are basically biological, and I think you can... Maybe we go to the next one quickly. Yeah, those are the farming inputs again, and then we can go to the next one. So, yeah. So basically, the pesticides is something which most probably is why do we need them, and there is a fact that healthy crops will attract fewer diseases and pests, and some leafy greens will most probably be able to be without pesticides, but just increasing Brix values. But plants in nature are opportunistic. there is no reason why a plant would deter dickpens, or a tomato at least, because the dickpens will do an excellent job in spreading its seed. And so the same goes with apples and all the fruits which produce seeds. So the plant doesn't care whether a human consumes it or an insect consumes it, as long as the seeds are spread. And that's why I think Brix in certain instances will not work. And that's why we most probably need pesticides in those situations, even if we don't want to, just to be able to produce for the customer a fruit which is edible, because you also always have to consider the shelf life. Because once a tomato has been dented or eaten by an insect, the shelf life of the tomato will be very short. So I think even though we don't want to use it in organic agriculture, we have to consider using them so that we can become bigger. So basically, Brix is a really nice tool to find out if you meet all the right nutrients for your plant. And then there's a really interesting study on terpenes on plants. That's basically self-defense mechanism by plants, which are signals which are being given either to attract pollinators or to deter insects from eating it. And there's also, there's constant research on these two subjects, and there's a lot of things happening nowadays regarding those interactions between plants and insects. Then JADAM as a wetting agent, as compared to chemical pesticides, will break down within 5 days. So you will not find any residue. The wetting agent actually just consists of canola oil, potassium hydroxide, and distilled water. It does have its limitations though, and especially in this country, it's a big limitation. It works in its optimum with soft water. And because we have a lot of hard water here in this country, you would always have to find a way to make your water soft before making it yourself, because all the recipe on their making is online or in the book. Or when you apply it, if you have really hard water, you will have a lot of dots when applying the wetting agent to the plant. And also for conventional agriculture, I think the JADAM wetting agent is quite interesting because it does work as a wetting agent or as a surfactant, but at least it works down quicker and will make less damage to people than the traditional one. So my experience with JADAM. So I definitely noticed an increase in microbial activity. I noticed this through a huge increase in brassica health and production. I've never had so many well-doing kales and cabbages and cauliflowers ever before. The other thing is that the soil test showed a decrease in salinity, and also the pH dropped within a year as much as it dropped usually within 2 years. So there was a huge, that was for me a big sign that something really good is happening here. And regarding JADAM as a wetting agent, like I said, I've only started with JADAM in 2022, so it's a very short period of testing, but it does help with aphids and whiteflies, which are usually something which is for me always coming up when it gets very hot very quickly, and when most probably I have an imbalance of nitrogen fertilizers, which sometimes I think has to do with heat stress, that they can take up any nitrates and can't take up the potassium or the phosphate which they need. But I'm sure there are more clever people who can tell me about this. And that's basically when they become really problematic. And the wetting agent will help to take a little bit more control over them. It will not help with a big infestation if it's too late and the efforts already gave you a virus, but it will definitely help as a maintenance solution to make sure that they don't take over and become an infestation. Yes. The future, oh, there's a spelling mistake. I think JADAM can be an answer to high fluctuations in prices for fertilizers, pesticides, and fungicides. I think we live in a world which is really changing very quickly. We also live in a world where we have increasing prices, especially when it comes to oil and all the counter effects of those. And so if you are able to at least produce some of your own fertilizers and pesticides, you can you can withstand those fluctuating prices and make sure that you can produce fruit and vegetables at a lower price than a conventional farmer. And I think JADAM has the potential to be adapted to big commercial enterprises. I think in South America and Asia, there are really big farmers adapting the solutions. And then, yes, the chemical pollutants we have in agriculture and reduce carbon emission.
Thank you so much for the opportunity that you have given me to present this presentation. I will go straight to the presentation. My title is Towards Organic Production of Tomatoes Using Ecologically Based Pest Management Options. My name is Dr. Shepard Ndlela from the International Center of Insect Physiology and Ecology, shortened to ICIPE in Nairobi. I begin with a question that is organic food worth the hype? Because there are so many things that have been said about organic food production. But let me be quick to say it is no secret that the production of food using synthetic pesticides has been detrimental to our health, has been detrimental to the environment, and is not sustainable. While organic production, if done properly, it has so many qualities that enhance soil health, enhance our biodiversity, reduces the cost of production, is positive to ecosystem services, for example, bees and parasitoids, all the natural enemies that we can talk about. It also, if done properly, I am certain that the benefits far outweigh the negatives of organic farming. But can it feed the whole world? We know that the population of the world is increasing, and this is no secret. But if we go organic way, can we be able to feed the whole world under today's premises? Let's ask ourselves, let's take two scenarios, today's premises and the future premises. As we ponder on these aspects, that if you look at organic production, are the inputs for organic production available? Are the inputs for organic production accessible? Are the inputs for organic production affordable? And again, if we look at the markets, do we have the markets? Do we have adequate demand for organic food? Do we have premium prices for those who have taken the pain of producing their food organically? Again, let's go to the preference, the attitude of the consumers, you and I. What do we prefer? Do we prefer what has been produced organically? Do we prefer what has been produced under synthetic production system? I will show these two pictures. Honestly, if you go to a shop, to a supermarket, and you find apples to your left and there are apples to your right, would you choose those apples which I have indicated left? Look at the scars, look at the color, look at the aesthetic appearance as compared to one which is on the right. The answer is as good as mine. You would go for the ones that are appealing to the eye and you pay whatever price for those, but forgetting that probably what has been produced organically in terms of health, it is way above what has been produced using conventional means. The problem that we are having today is that we are thinking that producing organically means that we have to stop controlling pests. No, we don't stop controlling pests. We have to control our pests, but in a sustainable way. But the most important thing in organic production is prevention, excluding the pest altogether, practicing soil cultural practices, because the most important thing in organic farming is soil health. When the soil is healthy, the plant is healthy and robust, pests find it very difficult to attack a healthy plant. We have to use ecologically friendly products, but they have to be effective. Now you look in the market, some of the products which are there are not effective and they're highly priced, which gives it a huge problem for those who are producing organically. We have to, if prevention has failed, then our scouting methods will be able to identify the problem at the earliest possible time. For example, I'll give you an example. In tomato production, the red spider mite is a huge problem. But if you identify red spider mite early, you are able to control it. But unfortunately, farmers will only see the problem when it is spread throughout the farm. Red spider mites will not affect the farm in a single day. They start from a certain spot. When you identify the spot and you destroy, you are good to go. But unfortunately, we wait until the last minute. We are implementing a project called Integrated Sustainable Production of Tomatoes, dubbed ICIPE in Kenya. Our development goal looks at income, nutrition, security, resilience, and of course, we want sustainable tomato production. Our purpose is to increase the production in terms of quantity and quality, while by demonstrating and scaling up climate-smart holistic approaches. Our outcomes, we envisage the following outcomes: bio-based integrated pests and soil health, improved evidence to inform policy, and of course, we seek to strengthen capacity in at different levels for the partners, police, and farmers and the like. The major pest in tomato production is Tuta absoluta. Tuta absoluta is an invasive pest originating from South America, invading different countries. It was first reported outside South America in 2006. And ever since that period, it has spread over the Mediterranean basin, spread over Europe, Africa, and Asia, and is currently reported in many countries. As you can see, I have shown that map, the gray part showing the invaded countries. But the countries where we are saying no report, it doesn't mean that it is not there. It is there, but it has not been reported. In most countries, or some of the countries, the pest is there, but has not been reported. On the life cycle, Tuta absoluta, the life cycle depends on environmental conditions, mostly temperature. It has 4 developmental stages: the adult, the egg, the larvae, and the pupae. And within the larval stage, we have the 4 developmental stages: first instar, second instar, third instar, and fourth instar. And this is the most damaging stage of the pest. The pupation occurs in the soil, so it when the larvae are mature, they will drop to the ground and pupate, and then the adult emerges from there. Tuta absoluta attacks a wide array of host plants, but the preferred host plant is tomato. It also attacks potato. It also attacks eggplant. It also attacks tobacco. It also attacks beans. And of course, there are many host plants in the wild host plants. For example, Jatropha, Jameson weed, or the devil's snare, the hairy nightshade, the red nightshade, and Solenum dubium. All these are attacked. So if we are having these host plants in the farm or nearby, in the absence of tomato, they will go. And when we transplant, then they come into the farm. Tuta absoluta, the damage, it damages the leaves, it damages the tomato fruits, it leads to massive defoliation because when the larvae attack the plant, the larvae eat away the photosynthetic material, leaving the plant unable to photosynthesize or make any food. And in Kenya, 92% of the damage has been recorded on leaves. And fruit has also been shown to be attacked so much. So if you lose the control strategies here, it means your tomatoes will be unsightly. It means that your tomatoes will lose the aesthetic value and they cannot be chosen when presented in the market. So what are some of the methods that are being used to control Tuta absoluta? We have biopesticides. ICIPE has produced biopesticides, which because ICIPE is not for profit making, so the private sector have privatized and they've commercialized these projects, these products, the biopesticides. The biopesticides can also be used with a device called the auto dissemination device. We can also use the water trap, which is very easy to use at farmer level. This also is also used with the attractant or the lure. Of course, we have the most common type of using delta traps together with the lure. Also, choice of planting material is very important. But today I want to concentrate on the release of parasitoids, a natural enemy that controls Tuta absoluta. Following the invasion in 2014 in Kenya, ICIPE conducted wide surveys to see if there are any natural enemies which had formed associations with the pest. So we were unable to find an effective parasitoid or natural enemy. And ICIPE imported a natural enemy from Peru, and this was brought to ICIPE under quarantine conditions. We conducted research to see the effectiveness of the natural enemy, to see its effect on non-target organisms, to see also the specificity of the parasitoid, whether it will attack Tuta absoluta or it will be all over the place, causing havoc in non-target species. These are some of the important findings that we got. We had students who were working on some of the aspects of the project, and these were the findings. The female parasitoid preferred the first instar larvae, followed by the second instar larvae, and of course, the last preferred instar was the first instar, which makes a lot of sense. The parasitoid would rather attack the first instars, probably because the immune system has not developed so much. The female parasitoid also survived for 16 days. Remember, the pest, we said it can survive for 28 days, but the parasitoid can survive for 16 days. The number of eggs of the female were produced from as early as the first, the second day thereabouts, and the number of eggs decreased with time. So the younger ones produce more eggs, and the older ones, the egg load would have reduced. Now, let me quickly finish this presentation. We also found out that one parasitoid can effectively parasitize 100 Tuta absoluta parasitoids. This information is important when releasing the parasitoid, for example, in greenhouses. So you have to determine the level of infestation so that the number of parasitoids that you release correspond to the level of infestation so that you don't waste the parasitoids. Some of the important findings is that parasitoids can be used together with biopesticides. The biopesticide, when it is sprayed on the crop and parasitoids come on the crop and parasitize the larvae of Tuta absoluta, the effect of the parasitoid of the biopesticide is not transferred to the progeny of the parasitoid. It means the parasitoid continues to survive. That's the most important thing that I want you to understand from here, is that parasitoids can be used together with biopesticides. We have released the parasitoid. It was released for the first time outside South America in Kenya, in the eastern part of Kenya in 2021. Now it has been released in Uganda, Ethiopia, and Tanzania. And we conduct mass rearing at ICIPE, and we are releasing in Kenya and other different countries. What we are doing, we are establishing farmer-managed demonstration plots where farmers are assisted with eco-friendly inputs, and they produce the tomatoes. The idea here is for them to generate scientific knowledge instead of top-down approach where we give them the information. Here they generate their own information. We are working with different organizations, notably Kenya Organic Agriculture Network, especially for the coordination of the certification of organic farmers. We are joining hands with other partners in lobbying for sustainable agricultural policies. We are building capacity of postgraduate students, of farmers, of institutions. We have produced so many material that can be used for training. In conclusion, we ask ourselves again, and can organic agriculture feed the world? In today's premises, the answer is no. There are so many things that need to be done for us to reach this target. But under future premises, with so many changes, with so many implementation of deliberate activities, organic agriculture can feed the world. What is required for us to reach this position? Holistic approach to soil health, not soil fertility, because soil fertility gives what is required to the plant at that particular time. But concentrating on issues of soil health brings the aspect of sustainability. The more healthy the plant is, the fewer the pests. Now, let me go back to what I said initially. For us to have sustainability of organic production, the inputs must be available, they have to be accessible, they have to be affordable. This, we have to work on this. I want to thank BioVision Foundation, which is sponsoring these activities, and different other organizations whom we are working with, Surf Organics, Relay PM, Farm Trade Consulting, and the 2 counties in Kenya that we are working with, the county government of Kirinyaga, the county government of Narok, and of course, ICIPE management, who have allowed us to work on these different aspects. Of course, I want to acknowledge the different donors who are part of the funding of the ICIPE family. I thank you.